movie, which I saw later on that night, Argentinian movie called The Shadow of the Cat. So completely different sort of movie. It actually stars Danny Trejo, you know, out from Dust Till
Oh,
Dawn.
yes, Danny Trejo, of course.
Yeah, really well-known character actor.
Mm.
In a very different role, I would say. Centers on this girl Emma, who's played by Monica Antonio Paleles. I'll go with. I think that sounded pretty smooth. It sounded convincing. Like it could be a name anyway, even if it's not quite right.
Yeah.
Well, that's who plays Emma, who's like the young sort of protagonist. Family on a farm, but years previous she lost her mother, like they were separated, and she's never really got an explanation about what happened with her mother in the past. So she becomes curious. She discovers a cell phone and sported essentially sort of to this kind of netherworld or this fantasy world where she starts to actually see what happened in the past, not just to her mother, but to herself, because she was obviously there at the time. So it's one of these where it has a back and forth time structure, and at the same time, her family, Danny Trejo plays one of them, is looking for her on a trip to a place from their past where all this sort of happened. Start to get answers essentially about what happened in the past, and you do get a back and forth sort of thing. And it's a really interesting film. It's one of the strangest films I've seen in a very long time. One thing I'd say is that it sort of starts off as one kind of film and ends up a completely different one, because the first half of the film has this really sort of quirky sort of charm to it. It has this very sort of coming of age to it. I mean, the opening image, the opening shot, you'll just fall in love with, because it's this character of Emma. She's on like an exercise bike in the backyard, and she's pedaling away with just this most playful, goofy sort of grin. And there's stuff with her sort of like going around the house, you know, with like a very old sort of like early video camera. I think stuff like that gives the film like a nostalgic sort of feel, but she's like
Yeah.
in her family, kind of getting into all sorts of mischief. Very good, the actress. She's. I mean,
Yeah.
later on in the film, when things obviously take a turn, she's very convincing as well as in these scenes. But it has a very nostalgic look with the colour and the period. And I mean, just speaking about them going into the past, another thing which probably you don't always talk that much about in movies in general, certainly maybe not horror movies always, is I thought the sort of hair and makeup was really well done, because
Ah.
when yeah, when you see them in the past in the flashback scenes, it actually does look convincing. It looks like, for example, it is Emma at a much younger age, but you can
Mm.
still tell it's her sort of thing. So I thought that was worth pointing out. Then it is well done. But as I was saying, as you get to the second half of the film, it takes a right old turn. It takes a really surreal, very unsettling turn. Yeah, it's a very sort of bizarre sort of feel to the film, and has a very eerie sort of feel as things go on, and you get all this stuff. I mean, I think it's definitely dealing with stuff to do with mental health, to do with abuse. It's a weird one. It's a weird mix, because in some ways you still, just as this really surreal, beautiful movie, you still sort of enjoy it, even though there's actually a lot of disturbing stuff in the second half. And I'll be honest, at times in the second half of the film, I had no idea what the hell's going on. But it actually didn't matter by that point, because I was hooked into the film. It has a distinct style, which you can't say about a lot of modern movies. I certainly can't say about the last movie I reviewed. So yeah, I really liked it. I could see that it's maybe not for everybody. I think because I was so into the characters at the start, I think that's what helped me when things got like super sort of weird later on. But as I said, the style was definitely very sort of distinct of the cat. A really strong movie, good sort of cult movie, but also has a very sort of coming of age sort of charm to it as well. And I thought the lead actress was really good. And I mean, some of these movies obviously we will have to review on future episodes, so
Definitely.
I think this could be a good one to review, actually, providing it gets a good release or is on a streaming service somewhere. That's Shadow of the Cat, so I recommend that one. So it's 1-1 at the moment.
So one good, one bad.